So this is something that might be lost today. But what is a mockbuster? Have you ever been to a store and you saw something that was like, maybe it wasn't Kung Fu Panda. It was like Chop Kick Panda. That's a mockbuster. So growing up in my house, the Sci-Fi channel was always on, whether I wanted it to or not. So things like Stargate and Fargate and what is it? Show with the Cylons. That might be the same thing. I don't remember. But similar to Cartoon Network, Sci-Fi channel also had movie nights, and Sci-Fi aired a lot of mockbusters, and I actually have a collection right here of them, and it is hilariously bad. So if you are unfamiliar with the concept of a mockbuster, a mockbuster would be something like, let's say you have the Avengers, okay? That's a fairly popular modern movie. Let's say you have the Avengers. Well, a mockbuster might make something called, like, the Revengers. And it would have, like, Captain Patriot, the Metal Man, very obvious serial numbers filed off, just enough to not get us sued, changes to it. And it's just, I couldn't tell you why it happens. It's just trying to make money, trying to play with software, maybe learn 3D modeling or whatever. On this particular collection, there's one called Transmorphers, Fall of Man. And that movie is so unintentionally hilarious for like one reason. So there's like evil robots who attack the planet, and they're for no reason they decide to call them the Transmorphers. And at one point, one robot comes to the planet and starts like destroying the entire city, killing people, and then it shows a fade, right, to show like a passage of time. So it shows that like, they're in like a desert wasteland. They're all wearing like their fucking Mad Max gear, and there's like sheet metal buildings, and they're trading for supplies with like bartering and stuff. And it's like the narrator sits there and goes, "It's been 6 hours since the Earth was taken over." And it's like, you set up this bullshit in 6 hours? Fuck off, dude. So anything can be a mockbuster. It doesn't matter. So one thing I've mentioned before is that one of my favorite movies on this earth is Fantastic Voyage, and of course it has a mockbuster too. So in 2002, the Sci-Fi channel aired a movie called Antibody, which is hysterically bad. So it stars Lance Henriksen, which I can only assume took up most of the film's budget. And the movie is about a Russian terrorist group attacks the United States. Nowhere in particular, just the United States. And the main terrorist claims to have a remote detonator somewhere inside his body that if he is killed, if it stops sensing his heart rate or his breathing or anything for any reason, it will set off a nuclear blast. And Lance Henriksen plays a government agent who is like top of the line, seen it all, been in a million missions, knows this guy isn't bullshitting. So they like do their best to subdue this guy, but a trigger happy soldier like shoots this dude in the gut. So now this dude is about to die, and they're like, "Oh shit, what the fuck are we gonna do? We haven't found the bomb yet, and if this dude dies, we're all fucked." So what they try to do is they cryogenetically freeze this guy. And they're like, "Okay, we gotta go." And the funniest part about these mockbusters is they know. And it's like, okay, well, we're gonna shrink down and go inside this guy, and we're gonna look for that microchip and deactivate it, just like that movie. So I swear to God, the actual like craft that they use to go inside this dude, I have seen that toy somewhere. I would not be surprised if it was based on like a toy and they just didn't give enough of a shit that they just kept it in. Like when I was little, my cousin and I used to get all these figures. It was Fisher Price figures of like buff dudes. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. There was like a buff fireman and like a buff paramedic, and they're like the rescue workers or something like that. And this ship they use in the movie looks like something that comes out of that. Well, they go inside this dude, and a skin mite, or like I think it's like a skin mite or a tick or something like that, follows them inside through the needle hole. And I don't know if you've seen like a tick before, but a tick is not the same fucking size as a needle hole. And it's like the antagonist for the movie. And I remember it really bugs the shit out of me. No pun intended. Because a tick isn't gonna fucking fit through... It doesn't matter. So, they fly through the PS2 graphics of this guy's insides. And shit just could not possibly go any better. Almost every single member on the crew dies for whatever reason. There's a part where one dude is like, I must sacrifice myself, and he like goes out into a probe and like just dies to distract the tick, and I believe that ends up killing the tick. Like they nuke the tick inside this dude. They like shoot it with a fucking torpedo and it explodes. So they eventually find the computer chip, and it looks absolutely nothing like a computer chip. It looks like a big metal board covered in light bulbs. And they're sitting there, and there's all these different numbers attached to light bulbs. And they're like, okay, we have to hack this computer chip. So they hack it by, like, pulling the light bulbs out with the crane, or like little arms on the front of the submarine. And Lance Hendrickson's character is like this bitter... I'm alone, I'm divorced, my wife left me because I was a gambler, all this different shit. And the most egregious part of the movie is when his character is like, okay, it's time for one last gamble, and like throws down his dice. And it's like, wait a minute, I know what to do. And he literally flies the submarine around to the other side of the microchip. And I swear to fucking God, there's like a flaming skull with a light bulb that says like 777. It was like 777 or 666 or something like that. And they pull that light bulb out and it deactivates the microchip. So then they get out of the guy's body. They're like, we gotta get out of this guy's body before he fucking, kills or we die. And then they get out of his body, and to their credit, this part of the movie's fucking hilarious. So they resize after leaving the guy's body, and this dude somehow like deactivates his cryo freeze, and he's like about to shoot Lance Hendrickson in the back of the head, and he just turns around and kills him. And it's like, if you would like to watch this movie, it is currently on Amazon Prime. I checked this morning and I watched it before filming, and it's definitely like, it has like a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it deserves it. The last time I watched it before today was it was like one of the last movies I ever rented from a Family Video. And I don't want to say that's why I stopped going to Family Video, but it might be. So, this was just a dumb little segment I wanted to try. So if you liked this and you want me to watch more Mockbusters and make fun of them, just let me know.